Mitakiapi. Troka le ampetiki le chate etaha. Yuskia nape ochius papelo. Le miecha akre ikranchola tipi elwahi. Na maza shkanshka wapre wanji lakhotia woglakapi. Na lakhowichochanki. Ena iwaglakinkta yelo. Dweki hechi tuktel anurumta na kapi ki hena wopilatranka ipre yelo. Hello, my relatives. First of all, from my heart on this day, I extend a hearty handshake. This is me again. I have come to the radio station, and for 1 hour, I will speak on the Lakota language and culture. Those that, from wherever they sit and listen, I send my thanksgiving to you. Today is the 18th episode of my Lakota cultural program. And first of all, I want to review last week's program. I believe we did have some a few things happening. First of all, we did vocabulary phrases and sentences. I think we almost reached 300 sentences. We'll do that today. And that's, and also we did review some of the, important phrases, and covered some of the information on the Lakota bands and four medicines and different things that, and also the little exercise turning negative into positive, and then storytelling forms, levels of Lakota language. And so then we did that. I guess that's where that 12, group 12 of the Lakota sentences for beginners. And then we had an Easter story. And then Iktomi and the Muskrat and Iktomi's Blanket were the two stories. And we'd like to start again with prayer. I always like to start a day with prayer. And in this case, we'll use the Serenity Prayer. Trunkashila wachwala makuo. Daku waglutrokcha oaki hisni. Ena omakiayo. Daku waglutrokcha oaki ena washake makuo. Na omakiaki lena woksape hechel. Wagluhak kta yalo. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back is what I always like to say, or is always shared at the end of a meeting, a gathering. And so with that, we're going to go into some current affairs. I heard that somewhere, so I'm just going to utilize that. Later on, we'll do the 13th group of the Lakota sentences for beginners, and then we're going to talk about from the Tales of Human Creation. We're going to have a story about blood clot. There was one previous to that in one of the shows, and this is the second of that story form. And this is taken from the chapter on Tales of Human Creation. And so I'm just creating chapters, creating paragraphs, creating sentences. And then we'll go into later on, as allowed, there'll be a story of Iktomi and the arrowheads. And then hopefully we'll finish off with Iktomi and the coyote. So those are some of the things that we'll get to in due time. Again, thank you for tuning in. This is a beautiful day. Today is a good day. We did survive on the weekend. There was some little bit of snowfall and a lot of moisture. So those of you that were still digging out from the weekend, we hope you got out safely. One of the things I'd like to talk about at this time, and I'm no official, I'm not speaking in any official capacity, but was able to attend a meeting of recent time. Le chalak omnichonji haki he chiwai le takumak uke blowaktilo. I just recently went to this meeting on April 2nd, I believe, and I'm predating myself, but there is a future meeting that we'll also put out there on the airwaves. This meeting was held in regard to the Little Bighorn Battlefield National Monument, Crow Agency, Montana, and it addressed the 150th anniversary of the Battle of the Little Bighorn. And it'll be held on June 25th. And this battle took place on June 25th, 1876. And so the 150th anniversary of the battle will be commemorated at the Little Bighorn Battlefield National Monument from June 25th to the 27th, 2026. Events will include programming, a teepee encampment, Pezisla Wokiksia Memorial Ride, and also a new visitor center with the NPS, National Park Service, advising early planning for limited access. So again, that is the drawing factor for the meeting that was held here in Wamblipaha, and again the commemorative dates: Little Bighorn Battlefield National Monument, NPS National Park Service agenda. So there is an agenda out that was issued by the NPS, the National Park Service, for January 25th, 26th, June 25th, 26th, 27th. I don't know where I seen January. Okay, events, a commemorative 360-mile, 15-day ride. From where? They didn't mention. A tribal teepee encampment and special programming. And I don't know if this one's going to happen, the new visitor center. A new $14 million, 9,000 square foot visitor center dedication ceremony. Someone mentioned that wasn't going to happen, which is okay. They could probably schedule it for another time. They will let everybody know. There was some planning that took place over the past years of addressing the need to build a new visitor center. If you've ever been to Little Bighorn Parks or National Monument, or there is limited space there, as mentioned. And you got to get there early, but looks like they're going to shuttle everybody. Sounds like they're going to shuttle everybody on site. So you probably can't even park on the within the park boundaries, and then you probably have to go across down the entry point and across the highway 212, and park in one of the areas designated, and they'll probably have a shuttle. So that's some information that's hopefully helpful. says, historically, the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes of Montana and Oklahoma have been the primary contributors for the National Park Service, historically. The NPS, National Park Service agenda, has slots for tribal presentations. And the question posed at that meeting by our tribe, held here in Eagle Butte on April 2nd, was, what shall we, the Lakota, the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe, contribute? Another question, how and what support for the Pezi Shla Wokiksia Memorial Ride? So at that time, it wasn't clear who was doing a ride, from where, and there was limited information. And also another question that was posed, any other activities for the battlefield commemorative agenda? And so there was questions upon questions. What's going to happen when we get there? I think the agenda is already set, from what I understand. And historically, there's tribes that have worked closely with the NPS, National Park Service, and have as contributors for things like the agenda. So we could be already looking from the outside in, knocking on the door, and the door is not open. Maybe, I don't know. But it depends on how we as a tribe will involve ourselves. Remember that we have people that were from our tribe that were involved in this battle. And so that could be a good reason to ask to be included in the agenda. I know they have a program, probably starts at 10 o'clock, runs for a couple hours, then they have tours, and they have probably presentations throughout the day. But the main thing would be the morning session where everybody wants to be on that agenda. I'm thinking. I'm just posing questions. So again, a reoccurring question, how do we as Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe want to contribute and participate in the LBHB National Park Service and other tribes? There might have been meetings leading up to this. I'm sure there's meetings that were set up for this time. And we just haven't had the information presented at our recent meeting of delegates from our tribe that attended these meetings and should have something to report. There was also some bullet points, activities. There was the commemorative ride, educational presentations, day and evening, if there's going to be some activities like a wachipi. 3, and then the body that was there at the meeting, the group of people, I think we had veterans, we had tribal programs, game fishing parks, plants management, educational components, and tribal officials and others. And those 3 areas that they want to consider. The first being the NPS battlefield, and then the second being Eagle Butte, Wamblipaha. I think on this day, there was in the past, I'm trying to remember when the most recent one was, where they had a Victory Day celebrations here in Wamblipaha. And I think the moderator mentioned that there might be interest to hold a wachipi, traditional wachipi, or I think there was a historian that was in attendance also that brought up the fact that there might be an interest to hold a one-day traditional wachipi or other activities like games for the children or educational presentations. And so that was one site that we looked at here in Eagle Butte, and then the battlefield site, and then also there was an additional third one, and that had to do with a ranch, a tribally owned ranch in Montana. So, surprise, surprise, we have land up in Montana. And so that was, again, immediately addressed. This 200-acre ranch located approximately 4 miles southeast of the Little Bighorn Battlefield National Monument. And there was maps that was topical maps that were passed out. And it did have coordinates, GPS coordinates, to 200 acres. And it did have some access points where it was located in regards to the interstate, where it was located to the 212 highway, and where it was located to the Little Bighorn National Monument, and then also where it was located in regards to the Little Bighorn River. So we're talking about 4 miles southeast of the battlefield. And to get there was a good question. There's access roads, looks like might be gravel road, might be dirt road. And so a lot of questions came out of that. What is on that site? What is on that property? They said it was a ranch previously owned by somebody. There was some a ranch house. There was some outbuildings and probably a stable area or holding pens, corrals. Questions about logistics. Is there electricity? Is there water? Is it close to civilization? No, that's just my question. But it's near the NPS Reno Benteen Memorial and Drive, so that's kind of way on the east side of the park. Is there additional resources to consider, like if someone were to camp there? We're talking about a delegation going out there and lodging. If you want to go out there, you better find some camping gear, and or you might get a room in Sheridan and drive back and forth. There's facilities in Hardin, but I think they're all booked probably from January on. So there's a lot of people coming in. I don't know where you might want to consider, driving to Billings, which is probably another 70 miles west. So this would be ideal if there was a place to camp at the 200-acre ranch. Place to keep horses, place to cook meals, camp out. They had showers, first aid stations. They had waste management, such as toilets, dumpsters, livestock waste, et cetera, et cetera. Good questions, good comments. Those are put on hold. I believe there's a crew that's coming or going out from here. Tribal reps that are going to go out and survey that property. one of the things that we were reminded as on that day was we only had 60 days to come up with a plan. 60 days until that event occurred. So now we're 54 days away, I believe, or less than 60 days. So, we're thinking we gotta respond accordingly. So, I think there's a term called proactive and reactive. Proactive, we would be already have a plan in place. But now, 60 days until the event, we have to jump into that reactive mode. So we're going to react. I never knew that we had this additional acreage simply because I no longer work with the tribe and have since 2008 or even earlier, I've been going to meetings at the National Park Service in Little Bighorn. So I kept up and informed the tribal government of what's happening out there, sent all the information to their attention so that we would know in advance what's going to happen. But I don't know if that's being done, if there's any delegates that attend these meetings. I know when I was last at a meeting, they were planning the visitor center. There's no construction on site. They were doing the infrastructure, looking for water lines, sewer lines. There was an old 100-year-old tank that is a cistern that they use to provide water to the existing facilities at the park, which included the visitor center and staff housing. But that was the last time I went to a meeting, and so that was donor years ago. But there's a lot of good discussion, and again, they'll meet again on April 10th, I believe. There'll be the next meeting. And if you're interested, you probably need to get a hold of someone, especially if you're interested in hosting or being a part of the program here at Cheyenne River on that day or during that time. We still have time to coordinate. But that's a little update on that meeting that I attended. I know I just attended at the request of at a personal request, and so we are here. Those of you that were following sports locally, we had a tribal member play basketball in a tournament that was aired nationally, and his team won a tournament. They went for the gold crown in Las Vegas, and they won Mazaska, and they were all, I think, seniors or teams that were graduating, losing their seniors, and it was a very interesting title game. The West Virginia University, a young man by the name of Eagle Staff, one of the relatives, represented, and they came out champions. Then, prior to that, I think the women's game took place, and UCLA women's team became the NCAA Division I champions for this year. And then last night, or Monday, one of them days. Lost track. There's too many games. And there was a recent men's NCAA championship title game. And it was quite a game between the University of Connecticut and University of Michigan. And so that was quite a contest, back and forth. And in the end, Michigan came out as the national champions. Good viewing. The only bad thing was my connection kept freezing up. The joys of living on a res. I said, you're at the mercy of your local service provider. So when it gets exciting and you get into the game and then the TV freezes up, you're held in suspense. You don't know what's going on. When could have been a deciding point in the game, but you have to take it in stride as a subscriber to the local internet and just enjoy what you can when you receive it. So that's how it goes, I guess. Okay, I would like to continue on with my regular program. And before I do that, I want to give a shout out to the Sonny Bowman from Shining Butte School, State A, All-State Honorable Mention. She averaged 14.2 points per game and 11.1 rebounds. Sonny Bowman, Shining Butte Braves, All-State Honorable Mention. Quite an honor. Also, the Shining Butte Braves State A Basketball Tournament, 6th place, Shining Butte Braves. Congratulations to Damian Clown. He made the all-tournament, all-state team. And that was, weeks back. Also, we had a story of the All-West Native American Basketball Tournament in Denver, Colorado. And some of the local teams, a local team went and participated. I think they ended up 5th place out of, I'd say, 40-some teams. There was total of 120-some total teams, so boys and girls. So that's quite a tournament. You get to go to the big city, and I think they got to go watch the Denver Nuggets play. And then they got to get on the court after the game, took some pictures. It was quite an experience. Good for the young boys, young girls that went to this. And then also we have some local tournaments probably happening every weekend. People going on traveling teams. So I want to go into this first story, and then I'm going to do some language stuff. This is a tribal story by it's called the blood clot. And I had a previous story. Long ago, a very old man and his wife lived alone and hunted for game. But it was scarce and they were hungry. One day, the man discovered some buffalo tracks and followed them to the place where the animal had stopped. There he found only a big clot of blood, which he wrapped in his shirt and carried home. The old man told his wife to boil the blood, and she put it into the kettle with water from the creek. But before it came to boil over the fire, they heard cries inside the kettle. The man ran up to it and pulled out a baby, a little boy, who had somehow formed out of the blood clot. The old couple washed the baby and wrapped him up. By the next morning, he had grown much larger, and that day he continued to grow until he could crawl about by himself. The second day, he was able to walk a little. By the third day, he was walking with ease. The couple called him Blood Clot, and he came to and came to treat him as their son. The old man made little arrows so that the child could learn to shoot. Soon Blood Clot needed larger arrows, and with them he began to hunt birds and other small game. He never brought the game home himself, but sent the old man for it. One day Blood Clot returned from hunting and said, "I killed something with a striped back." The man went out and fetched an animal, a little bigger than a mouse, which he cooked for the three of them. The next day the boy announced, "I have killed a white short-tailed animal." It was a cottontail, which the man also cooked. The day after that, Blood Clot went further and killed a badger. "I have killed an animal in a hole in the ground," he said. And the man brought the creature home and cooked it. The following day, when the boy returned, he said, "I have killed an animal with black ears and a black tail." To the old man's joy, it was a female deer. The three of them ate and were very happy. Next, Blood Clot said, "I have killed a big fellow with big antlers." It was an elk. So again, the family feasted on meat. The old man gave the boy a full-size bow and arrows, and Blood Clot went into the mountains and shot a mountain goat. "I have killed an animal with big horns in the mountains," he said when he came down. Every day, the old man said proudly, he kills a different kind of animal. Now their troubles were over, and they had an easy time. Blood Clot killed a mountain lion, then he tracked and shot an otter. "I have killed an animal with nice fur, living in the water." The old man tanned the skin to make strings for tying the boy's braids. The following day, Blood Clot found a beaver. "I have killed a water animal with a tail of this size." At last there came a day when Blood Clot said, "I want to visit the village where many people live. Before that, I will go on my last hunt for you all day and night. First, I want you to tie up the tent. Put rocks on the edge and fasten the door, lest the night wind carry it away. Though the wind will be strong, don't go outdoors and don't be afraid. I will call when you can come out." The old couple obeyed, and he hunted all night while they were sleeping. About daybreak, they heard a big noise, front runner of a wind that threatened to tip over the tent. The man was frightened and wanted to go out, but the wife held him back, reminding him of what their son had said. When daylight came, they heard the son's voice, "Come out, come on out. I'll show you something." He unfastened the door and saw a dead buffalo lying all around. "I have done this for you," Blood Clot said. "Dry the meat and hides. Save the meat and it will last you for a long time." The young man asked his mother to fix him a lunch, and she gave him wasna. "Now my parents have plenty of food," he said. As he left, they cried and asked him to return. Wearing buckskin leggings, carrying a quiver of mountain lion skin, Blood Clot began to travel. After a few days, he reached the village. At the outskirts, he asked for the chief's house, and a man told him, "It is in the center." There he found the chief with his wife and daughter. They invited him in to sit down, and the chief asked him where he came from and what his tribe was. "I don't know what tribe I belong to. I have come to visit you," Blood Clot replied. The chief stepped outdoors and shouted to the people to come and meet their visitor. The villagers were starving for lack of game, but all gathered at the chief's house and sat down. The chief said, "Do any of you know the tribe of this young man?" People named the tribes: deer, elk, otters, beaver, and others. They asked him whether he belonged to any of these, but he thought not. At last, one old man said, "I think I know from the power in him, although I may be mistaken. I think he is one of the buffalo." Blood Clot thought about it and finally agreed. The people of the village asked Blood Clot to stay and marry the chief's daughter. He agreed to do this as well. The wedding was held. That evening, he asked his father-in-law to bring one arrow from the teepee. When the chief returned, Blood Clot told him to have all the teepees fastened and to warn the people that they should stay indoors, for there will be a great storm. The chief told all the villagers, and at daylight, when they heard a big noise, they cried out in fear, but they didn't leave their teepees. Then Blood Clot called out to the chief, who came out to find dead buffalo before every lodge. At his son-in-law's bidding, he summoned the whole village for a feast, and they were all happy. Blood Clot stayed there until one day when a group of villages went out to hunt buffalo. Long before this, he had told his wife, "You know the buffalo calf? I am part of that. It is part of me. So you must never say the word calf." When the party killed some buffalo and were butchering, another herd came running past. His wife pointed and called, "Kill that calf." Immediately, Blood Clot jumped on his horse and galloped away, changing as he did so into a buffalo. His wife cried and attempted to catch him, but in vain. From that time on, Blood Clot ran with the buffalo. And this was a story that was recorded in 1920s, a Blood Clot boy. So that was a story number one. And we'll see how we got on time. We're going to go to Lakota Sentences for Beginners, which is group number 13. There's 20 and this group, maybe more with bonuses. So we're going to continue on. And these come from Everyday Lakota and English and Sioux Dictionary for Beginners. First one says, "Are you ready? Wiyea nakaho. Wiyea nakaho. Ohe. Yes, I am ready. Ha. Wiyea manka ksto. Wiyea manka yellow." Number 3 is don't get your clothes dirty. Hayapi shabkia shniya. Hayapiki shabkia shniyo. Number 4, do you want to go to the confession? Oh, we just had Easter, so maybe this will be applicable. Do you want to go to confession? O iglaka la yachinhe. O iglaka la yachinho. Or there's a bonus. Wakan o iglaka la yachinhe. Wakan o iglaka la yachinho. Number 5, who owns that house? Tipi ki he dwe tawa he. Tipi ki he dwe tawa ho. Who owns that house? Number 6, she is very poor. Lila wapchanicha ksto. Lila wapchanicha. Wapchanicha ksh, yellow. Okay, number 7 is just a male. I am a man. Wima chasha yellow. Wima chasha yellow. I am a man. Or Wima cha yellow. Wima cha yellow. So I am a man. Number 8, let's take a walk. Okomanikta ksto. Okomanikta yellow. Let's take a walk. Oh, this is a housekeeping one. Sweep the floor. Sweep the floor. Owanka gahinta ye. Owanka gahinta yo. Oh, number 10. Who spilled this water? Dwe maniki le papsuhe. Dwe maniki le papsuho. Who spilled this water? Number 11. He's a married man. Taichi tru ksto. Taichi tru yellow. Number 12. Good question. What's in the kettle? Chega ki taku mahel he. Chega ki taku mahel ho. Number 13. What have you to say for yourself? Dokel onigla kinkta he. Dokel onigla kinkta ho. Number 14. Are you well? Daya ya'u he. Daya ya'u ho. Or we have a bonus. Ni daya he. Ni daya ho. Number 15. Whose is that? Dwe he tawa he. Dwe he tawa ho. Number 16. Show it to me. Makipa zoe. Makipa zoho. Show it to me. Number 17. I don't know what to do. Dokel e chamukte ki slowaishni ksto. Dokel e chamuki. O dokel e chamukta ki slowaishni yellow. I don't know what to do. Have you come to ask for something? Taku ochi yahipi he. Taku ochi yahipi ho. Number 19. Those girls sing nicely. Wichinchalaki hena daya loampi. Wichinchalaki hena daya loa below. And number 20. Just recently we had some snowfall. The snow is very deep. Wa ki lila shme ksto. Wa ki lila shme yellow. So that is the group number 13. And so previously we had 281 sentences that we went over. We're going to add 23 more to that list, and we come up with a total of 304 sentences that we've had on this program. And so we congratulate you for your involvement in this support. This next story I'm going to share is about Iktomi and the arrowheads. So this is a story that I want to share. Iktomi and the arrowheads. There was once upon a time 2 young men who were great friends and were constantly together. One was a very thoughtful young man. The other was very impulsive, who never stopped to think before he committed an act. One day, these 2 friends were walking along, talking, telling each other of their life's experiences. They ascended on a high hill, and on reaching the top, they heard a ticking noise. Tick, 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 tick. As if small stones or pebbles were being struck together. Looking around, they discovered a large spider sitting in the midst of a great many flint arrowheads. The spider was busily engaged making the flint rocks into arrowheads. The 2 young men looked at the spider, but he never moved, but also continued hammering away on a piece of flint, which he had nearly completed into another arrowhead. "Let's hit him," said the thoughtless young man. "No," said the other. "He's not harming anyone. In fact, he's doing great good. He's doing great good as he is making flint arrowheads which we use to point our arrows. "Oh, you are afraid," said the first young man. "He can't harm you. Just watch. Watch me hit him." So saying, he picked up an arrowhead and, throwing it at Unktomi, hit him on the side. As Unktomi rolled over on his side, got up and stood looking at them, the two young men. The young man laughed and said, "Well, let us be going, as your grandfather Unktomi doesn't seem to like our company." They started down the hill when suddenly the one who had hit Unktomi took a severe fit of coughing. He coughed, and finally small particles of blood came from his mouth. The blood kept coming thicker and in great gushes. Finally, it came so thick and fast that the man could not get his breath and fell upon the ground, dead. The thoughtful young man, seeing this, that his friend was no more, hurried to the village and reported what had happened. The relatives and friends hurried to the hill, and sure enough, the thoughtless young man lay still and cold in death. The people held a council and sent for the chief of the Unktomi tribe. And when he heard what happened, the chief of the Unktomi tribe told the council that he couldn't do nothing to his Unktomi, as it had only defended itself. He said, "My friends, seeing that your tribe was running short of arrowheads, I set a great many of my tribe to work making flint arrowheads for you. When my men are thus engaged, they do not wish to be disturbed, and your young man not only disturbed my man, but grossly insulted him by striking him with one of the arrowheads, which he worked so hard to make." So as the young man who hit Unktomi walked away, Unktomi shot him with a very tiny arrowhead. This produced a hemorrhage which caused his death. The Unktomi chief said, "So now, my friends, if you will fill and pass the peace pipe, we'll part as good friends. And my tribe, the Unktomi tribe, shall always furnish you with plenty of flint arrowheads." So saying this, the Unktomi chief, Unktomi Tanka, finished his peace smoke and returned to his tribe. Ever after that, when the Lakota heard a ticking in the grass, they would go out of their way to get around the sound, saying, "Unktomi is making arrowheads. We must not disturb him." Thus it was known that Unktomi Tanka had the respect of his tribe and was never after disturbed in his work of making arrowheads. So that's a story of Unktomi and the arrowheads. And that was the Wichoyake. I believe I have one more story to share with you. And this one is an Iktomi, not one of our regular Iktomi stories, but it's kind of a spin-off of a story previously told. So over the years, we've seen different stories evolve from another one, and so that's kind of where we're going with this one. And it's kind of a interesting story, but this is Iktomi and a Coyote. Iktomi and a Coyote, and that one is far off on a large level land. A summer sun was shining bright here and there. Over the rolling green were tall bunches of coarse gray weeds. Iktomi and his fringed buckskins walked alone across the prairie with his bare black head glossy in the sunlight. He walked through the grass without following any worn footpath. From one large bunch of coarse weeds to another, he wound his way about the Great Plains. He lifted his foot lightly and placed it gently forward, like a wildcat, prowling noiselessly through the thick grass. He stopped a few steps away from a very large bunch of wild sage. From shoulder to shoulder, he tilted his head. Still farther, he bent from side to side, first low over one hip, then over the other. Far forward, he stooped, stretching his long, thin neck like a duck to see what lay under a fur coat beyond a bunch of coarse grass. A sleek, gray-faced coyote from the prairie, his pointed nose tucked in between his 4 feet, drawn snugly together, his handsome, bushy tail wound over his nose and feet. A coyote asleep in the shadow of a bunch of grass. This is what Iktomi spied. Carefully, he raised one foot and cautiously reached out with his toes. Gently, he lifted the foot behind and placed it before the other. Thus, he came nearer to the round fur ball lying motionless under the sage grass. Now Iktomi stood beside it, looking at the closed eyelids that did not quiver the least bit, pressing his lips into straight lines and nodding his head slowly. He bent over the coyote. He held his ears close to the coyote's nose, but not a breath of air stirred from it. "Dead," he said at last. "Dead, but not long since he ran over these plains. See, there in his paw is caught a fresh feather. He is nice, fat meat." Taking hold of the paw with the bird feather fast on it, Iktomi exclaimed, "Why, he is still warm. I'll carry him to my dwelling and have a roast for my evening meal." "Aha," he laughed as he seized the coyote by its 2 front paws and its 2 hind feet and swung him overhead across his shoulders. The coyote was large, and the teepee was far across the prairie. Iktomi trudged along with his burden, smacking his hungry lips together. He blinked his eyes hard to keep out the salty perspiration streaming down his face. All the while, the coyote on his back lay gazing into the sky with wide-open eyes. His long white teeth fairly gleamed as he smiled and smiled. To ride on one's own feet is tiresome, but to be carried like a warrior from a brave fight is great fun, said the coyote in his heart. He had never been borne on anyone's back before, and the new experience delighted him. He lay there lazily on Iktomi's shoulders, and now and then blinking blue winks. Did you never see a birdie blink a blue wink? This is how it first became a saying among the plains people. When a bird stands aloof watching your strange ways, a thin bluish-white tissue slips quickly over his eyes and as quickly off again. So quick that you think it was only a mysterious blue wink. Sometimes when children grow drowsy, they blink blue winks, while others who are too proud to look with friendly eyes upon people blink in this cold, bird-like manner. The coyote was affected by both sleepiness and pride. His winks were almost as blue as the sky. In the midst of his new pleasure, the swaying motion ceased. Iktomi had reached his dwelling place. The coyote felt drowsy no longer, For in the next instant he was slipping out of Iktomi's hands. He was falling through space. Then he struck the ground. With such a bump, he did not wish to breathe for a while. He wondered what Iktomi would do. Thus he lay still where he fell. Humming a dance song from his bundle of mystery songs, Iktomi hopped and darted about as at an imaginary dance and feast. He gathered dry willow sticks and broke them into two against his knee. He built a large fire out of doors. The flames leaped high in red and yellow streaks. Now Iktomi returned to the coyote who had been looking on through his eyelashes. Taking him again by his paws and hind feet, he swung him to and fro, and then as the wolf swung toward the red flames, Iktomi let him go. Once again the coyote fell through space. Hot air smoke filled his nostrils. He saw red dancing fire. And now he struck a bed of cracking embers. With a quick turn, he leaped out of the flames. From his heels were scattered a shower of red coals upon Iktomi's bare arms and shoulders. Dumbfounded, Iktomi thought he saw a spirit walk out of his fire. His jaws fell apart. He thrust a palm on his face, hard over his mouth. He could scarcely keep from shrieking. Rolling it over and over on the grass and rubbing the sides of his head against the ground, the coyote soon put out the fire on his fur. Iktomi's eyes were almost ready to jump out of his head as he stood, cooling a burn on his brown arm with his breath. Sitting on his haunches on the opposite side of the fire from where Iktomi stood, the coyote began to laugh at him. Ha ha ha. Another day, my friend. Do not take too much for granted. Make sure the enemy is stone dead before you make a fire. Then off ran the coyote so swiftly that his long bushy tail hung out in a straight line with his back. That's the end of the story of Iktomi and the coyote. And again, this is the third story. We hope you had an enjoyable time today, and we're going to sign off for this program. And Dokshake, we'll talk to you at the next program. Thank you very much. And lewana meglustancha bitake pi lechi tiata wagnina astewa kinktelo chale trokatakia okowashi letke oki he letke wa una ke waglan kiktacha. Opila tranke prelo, wow, mitakuye, uyasi.